I have been waking up at 4 a.m. for the last 3 years, and this has completely changed my life. I went from someone who was semi-depressed and unproductive to someone who is now living his best life. In this video, I'm going to share with you the 4 biggest changes that happen when you start waking up at 4 a.m. So let's get right into it. The biggest benefit is the change that you experience in your mindset. When I used to wake up relatively later, like at 8 or 9 a.m., I used to feel semi-lazy and unproductive, knowing that this was just another typical day and I would have to rush to work where I would be assigned a bunch of things. And to be honest, when you're not really excited about your day, then you sort of just fill it up with quick pleasures and don't really perform at your best. But waking up at 4 a.m. makes you feel special. I felt that I had a big advantage over the rest of the world that was currently sleeping. I'm not being rushed by work or university or any other thing. I can now actually decide what I wanted to do with this extra time. And this motivated me to make the most out of this special period of time. And when you start your day with this mindset, feeling like you have already won just by waking up at a certain time, then the psychological win snowballs into you doing more and more productive things. Waking up at 4 a.m. drastically improved the quality of my work. Here is what my work session used to look like in the past. I would start working at around 9 a.m. 15 minutes later, I would get a phone call. Then 30 minutes later, my doorbell would ring. And then 20 minutes later, I would have a pointless meeting that I had to sit through. And before you know it, it was time for lunch and I would have to eat. The problem with this is that your work session is being interrupted with a bunch of unavoidable distractions. And you might think that just a 5-minute call in the middle of work would do you no harm. But the truth is, it's not just about the 5 minutes that you lost during the call. It's about the brain power it requires to refocus on the task that you were currently doing. And when you have 4 or 5 such distractions, then the quality of your work really suffers. But once I started waking up at 4 a.m., all these distractions disappeared immediately. No one is going to call you, no one is going to ring the doorbell. There is no emergency that is going to pop up. And because of this, the quality of work I did in these 3 to 4 hours early in the morning was 10 times better than what I did when I was being bombarded with interruptions. Here is a very subtle but extremely powerful benefit of waking up at 4 a.m. Having worked with dozens of clients to get them more productive and disciplined, I realized something shocking. Almost all of these so-called bad habits that my clients had, like binge eating fast food, smoking, watching pornography, all of these used to happen later on at night when they were bored, lonely, or couldn't fall asleep. There is something about nighttime which makes a person less in control of himself. But when you wake up at 4 a.m., you are naturally going to feel sleepy at 8 or 9 p.m. And this protects you from making all these bad decisions later at night. Because now all you want to do is pretty much just hit the bed. So now most of your waking hours are spent earlier on in the day. When the day has just started and you're full of energy, there is sunlight, you have work to do, there are people around you. And all these factors make you a lot more in control of yourself. Back when I used to wake up kind of late, as soon as I would open my eyes, I would have to rush to university or work. I never really had the time to work on things that I deeply cared for. And this made me feel unfulfilled in life. But once you start waking up at 4 a.m., your day gets a lot longer. The first period of this day is the sacred time when the world is not awake. And the second period of this day is when the world and all its countless distractions, all your responsibilities hit you. I asked myself this question. What are those 1 or 2 things that I really wanted to do? And if I did them, I would feel fulfilled in life. And whatever these things are for you, schedule them in this first period of the day. For me, these things were reading books and creating YouTube videos. Doing these tasks first thing in the day when I was full of energy and had no distractions around me meant that I could make rapid progress in them. And now I felt like I was actually heading somewhere in life, making progress in things that I deeply cared about, and not just being assigned tasks by someone else. This video perhaps inspired you and you're excited about waking up early, but here's a bit of a brutal truth. If you tried waking up at 4 a.m. tomorrow, you most likely would feel tired, sleep deprived, and miserable. Because in order for me to wake up at 4 a.m. and be functional or productive, I had to fix several areas of my life. Firstly, I had to build a proper sleeping pattern. You can only fall asleep early and then wake up fresh if your biological clock, which is also known as your circadian rhythm, is on point. In order for me to fix my own internal clock, I had to wake up and view sunlight early morning. And then during the early parts of the day, I would go outside, get more sunlight, go for plenty of walks. And this viewing of light lets your body know that, hey, the sun is out. Time to pump out the right wake up hormones. Time to adjust your circadian rhythm. Another protocol that I followed to better calibrate this internal clock was that I would avoid bright lights during the later half of the day. Also, I would dim all the lights in my room 90 minutes before it was my sleep time. The absence of light lets your body know that, hey, it's night time. Time to secrete the sleepy hormones. Lastly, I had to give up eating processed food. Because when you eat food that is not particularly good for you, or you eat large quantities of even healthy food, then your body has to spend a lot more energy in trying to digest it. This leads to a poor quality of sleep, often requires you to sleep for 1 or 2 hours longer, and yet wake up feeling lazy, sore, have a bunch of brain fog. And when you wake up feeling that way, nothing productive can be done. So fixing your diet and adjusting your circadian rhythm are sort of prerequisites to waking up early and being productive. But the problem is resisting the urge to eat fast food and resisting the urge to stay up late at night is not really easy to do. You need to build a baseline level of discipline for that to happen. So make sure that you watch this video to learn how to do just that.